And welcome to Hannity. And tonight we're broadcasting from the always beautiful Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida, where in just moments, the 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, he will join us for his first sit-down television interview since leaving the White House. No topic is off limits. No question is off the table. We'll cover Joe Biden, the radical left, the future of the GOP in 2022 and 2024, COVID-19, the crisis on our southern border, the mob, the media, and everything in between. Now, without a doubt, President Trump remains the most dominant force in American politics today, even now 3 months removed from the Washington swamp. When Donald Trump talks, the world, the country listens. So tonight, for the hour, we welcome the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump. Mr. President, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you very much, Sean.
All right, so I know a lot of people that are around you every day. This is what they're all telling me. You are working as hard as you did when you were in the White House, except you play a little golf more. That you're keeping an insane schedule, 7 days a week. You really don't stop.
Well, we're seeing a lot of people. We're seeing a lot of good Republicans and a lot of good Americans, in some cases great Americans, and we are working very hard. And a lot of things to do, plus I'm getting more involved. For a long time, years, I wasn't involved in the business. I'm more involved in the business. We'll see what I do with respect to that, but the business is doing well, and we're doing well. It's been 5.5 years of investigations and hoaxes, and I see something came out just yesterday about the Russia was a total phony deal, and they hate to admit it, but intelligence came out.
They were putting a bounty on
the bounty, the big bounty deal, and now they say that it was a hoax, just like everything else. So it's a sad thing. You get impeached for doing nothing wrong, then you get a second impeachment for doing nothing wrong. And so it's been pretty wild when you think about it, and very unfair. So we're working very hard, and I think you're going to see something that will start to take place in 22 and will culminate in 24. And you're going to see a lot of big things and great things for the Republican Party and for the country when you look at the border and all of the things that are going wrong right now. What a shame at the border.
Let's start with Joe Biden. Now, I get criticized because the Joe Biden I see now, I can show you tapes of him in 2016. I could show you tapes of him in 2012. And to me, he looks extraordinarily weak, frail. I think it's very transparent. He's struggling cognitively. He usually averages less. We follow his schedule very closely, less than one event a day. What do you see? How do you grade him 3 months in?
So he's going to be 79 years old. That is not old. I know many people in their late 80s that are just as good as they were years ago. I spoke to one who's 92 years old. He said, I feel better than I did 20 years ago. 78, 79 is not old. But he, look, I don't think it's even appropriate for me to comment on that. It sort of speaks for itself. I mean, people can make their own determination. I know that if it were me, they would be up and down going crazy, right? But I had an instance where on a slippery ramp, piece of steel, very steep and very long, no railings, no nothing, and it was pouring at West Point. And the last thing I want to do is go down, because when Gerald Ford went down, it was not good. Now, when Biden went down, the press didn't cover it. I mean, if you look at...
Well, in fairness, his aide said that the wind, it was very windy, the wind might have blown him over. Did the wind ever blow you over when you were...
Well, Air Force One is a very big plane, and usually what they try and do is shield the wind. You know, when they park it, you can turn it at angles, and so you don't ever have too much. I've never seen too much wind. You can get a little windy, but not the kind of wind that blows you over. But if you look at mainstream media, or as you say, lamestream media, they didn't cover that. If that were a Republican, in particular, if it was me, that would be the biggest story for the rest of the year.
But let me ask the question from this perspective, because there are hostile regimes and many hostile actors on the world stage. You got a hostile regime in Russia, hostile actor Vladimir Putin, hostile regime in China, President Xi, you dealt with him a lot.
I know
Kim Jong-un, the mullahs in Iran, looks like Joe's already capitulated on that. Now, You know them well enough. I'm sure they're studying Joe Biden. Are knowing what you know, things that I wouldn't know, are you concerned about their perception of an American president that seems somewhat frail and weak?
Well, something's going on because they never did this with me, that I can tell you. Nobody was tougher on Russia. And frankly, getting along with Vladimir Putin is a good thing. And I got along with him very well. The relationship was very good, very strong. But they never encircled Ukraine. And they never, in Taiwan, China, they never sent warships all over the place like they're doing now. It looks very serious going on with Taiwan. And that's a long way away. That's 9,000 miles away. They're right next to it. That's like, I mean, it's like very close. So now something's going on with Taiwan. Something maybe is going on with Ukraine. This never was a big subject when I was president.
Wasn't at all.
As far as North Korea is concerned, I have a great relationship with a certain man that's got great power over North Korea. And you take a look at Kim Jong-un and the relationship that I developed. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. Getting along with President Putin is a great thing. You know, we should be doing business with Russia. We should be getting along with Russia. Instead of forcing Russia to go into the hands of China, the worst thing you could do is put China and Russia together. And they're together. And they get forced together. The Russian hoax was very, very bad for the relationship that we would have with Russia. But I got along well with Putin. I got along well with President Xi until the COVID came in, or the China virus, or whatever you want to call it. When that came in, it was a hold. But we made a great trade deal. Our farmers are making more money than they've ever made. Wheat prices are the highest they've ever been. They're doing great because China's buying so much. This was the trade deal that we made. But after COVID, trade just didn't seem that important to me, and we did other things, but it was too bad.
Let me go to one of your signature issues from the first day, the day you came down the escalator, and that had to do with immigration. You instituted policies, stay in Mexico policy. It worked. You built, I think by the end, over 450 miles of new border wall.
Yep.
Obviously, walls work.
Worked.
Then, of course, you ended the practice of catch and release. Now we see the exact opposite. You've seen these images on TV. I say they're Biden's cages. I mean, the media went nuts of Donald Trump is putting children in cages. It turned out Joe Biden and Barack Obama built those cages, and the images were from 2014, not 2018. My question is this. Imagine, well, first of all, your overall take on how dangerous this is. And number two, imagine if you're president and you have, these are Trump's cages overflowing with kids in the middle of a pandemic that, with a high positivity of COVID, what do you think the media, because there's been virtual silence on a lot of the aspects. I would argue if it was a daycare center, you'd be shut down and charged with child abuse.
They would not stand for it, and they're playing it down as much as they can play it down. It's a horrible situation, could destroy our country. People are pouring in, but you'll see something as the months go by like you've never seen before. Already it's like you've never seen before. There's never been anything like what's happened at our border. And people are coming in by the tens of thousands. They're walking in. All he had to do was leave it alone. If he left it alone, we were setting record positive numbers, and people would have to come in legally. And you know, the other thing that people don't talk about, human trafficking and drugs. That's doubled, tripled, and quadrupled coming in because that's pouring in right now. Drugs are pouring in. We had it so tight. We were doing so well. All he had to do was leave it alone. Stay in Mexico was a big deal. You know, that wasn't easy to get. We went through court systems. We went through everything. The wall, getting the wall built, and the wall, we're up to almost 500 miles, and completing it was very easy. That was going to be just routine. It would have been done routinely. The contracts were already there, the materials there. It was going to be done very quickly. And we got delayed for 2.5 years because we were sued by Nancy Pelosi in Congress not to build the wall. I won the suits. We won all of the suits. We won everything. And then they don't finish the wall. The wall is imperative. All of the things that go with the wall, the technology that goes into the wall and with the wall is so imperative. We had it down to a number that nobody could believe. And then all of a sudden I hear this. Now I hear something else, that I stopped money going to 3 countries, and then you have Mexico, where I have a great relationship with the president. He's actually a great guy, different philosophy, but a great guy. He put 28,000 free of charge, 28,000 soldiers on our border to stop people from coming in. And if you look at Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, we were giving them $500 million a year, but they weren't letting us take back these incredible, whether it's MS-13, but horrible people, gangsters, drug lords, horrible. They wouldn't let them come back. So I stopped payment. I said, how much are we paying them? $500 million, very early on. And as soon as I stopped payment, they called, we would love to have MS-13 back in our country. They wouldn't let us. If a plane was flying over, they'd block the runways. If buses came in, they wouldn't let you into the country. So we couldn't get anybody back. Now we just bring them back. He ended that. Now what he's doing is they want to give billions, not 500 million. They want to give billions and billions of dollars to these countries. I get along with all three of them, with the top people, all three of them. But they're going to be taking in billions and billions of dollars. And what's going to happen is that money is going to go to people that are going to bring people into our country. One other thing, they're sending us not their best people. They're sending us people that in many cases, not in all cases, are murderers, drug dealers, human traffickers, really bad rapists, really bad people. They're sending us people from their prisons. Those people are coming into our country. And of course, that's just common sense, because all you have to do is take a look at what happened in the case of Cuba. Take a look at what happened in the case of other countries. But the three countries, you have really some unbelievably dangerous people coming into our country. They're not vetted. You talk about COVID. You talk about all of that's one thing, but they're not vetted from a criminal standpoint. So we have murderers and rapists coming into our country, and they're just walking in. And just to finalize it, we have people from Yemen and the Middle East coming in. And they're coming in at numbers. Now, they can't come in through the airports. They can't get on a plane. And we had the policy, the ban. We had a ban, which was a great thing, from very dangerous countries. They're ending the ban. They've already ended it, so that people can come in from dangerous countries. But if you take a look at what's happening with the Middle East, many people from the Middle East are coming in through our southern border alongside of Mexico. What they're doing is insane. They're going to destroy our country.
Let me ask this.